Greetings everybody, it's Emily from Of Pages in Ink, and if you haven't noticed by the title down below, this is my 25 bookish facts. I was not tagged to do this video, but I did see it from Liv at Stories for Coffee and Tilly at Tilly and Her Books, and I was like, you know what, I want to do this because I'm not going to be doing a Top 5 Wednesday video. And I would do a long explanation, but I want to get into my facts. Before I do though, I want a quick side note to the fact that there is a smudge on my forehead. Yes, I know that it's there. Today is Ash Wednesday, and I am Catholic, and so there are ashes on my forehead. If you want to know more about that, comment down below or send me a message on Tumblr. Otherwise, that is the end of that conversation. So, to start off, I will obviously start with my very first fact, which is I have 131 books on my bookshelf behind me, and that does not include the miscellaneous and other yearbooks and other miscellaneous books that are down behind me right here. I have 30 books on my bookshelf that I have not yet read. I hoard bookmarks. I counted right before I did this video, and I have 39 bookmarks. And they're kind of a miscellaneous collection of things, from a funeral bookmark from my Aunt Victoria, who died back in 2001, to 2 handmade bookmarks from a friend on Tumblr. I've made quite a few of them myself, and some of them are even backings and like tags to things that I've bought, and they were like a strong cardstock, so I was just kind of cut them up, and so they have like the characters on them or whatever, or I just left them as they were, and now they're my bookmarks. I've also gotten a few from Owl Crate, but I have a total of 39. My favorite genre is a tie between dystopians. I hit the thing, I'm sorry. Dystopians and high fantasy. I love me some dystopias and I love me some high fantasy. They're just fantastic genres in my opinion. I am one for magic and adventure and survival situations, even though I've never been put in one of those situations myself, and if I was, I would probably die. I'm pretty sure if there was a zombie apocalypse right now, I would be dead within the next 20 minutes. And that is only because I am in a house. That is the only reason. They would have to get through my front door to get to me. 20 minutes. Anyway. I have had a library card nearly as long as I've lived where I do now, so it's about 13 years. I want to say it's probably closer to 10 than it is to 13, because there was a period in between when I moved here and when I actually really started getting into reading, that I would need to go get a library card for. I own 46 graphic novels / manga / comic books, and before you freak out about the fact that I said comic books, they are not Marvel, DC superheroes. They are Teen Titans from Cartoon Network and Powerpuff Girls, so do not get too excited. I have gone into 3 periods of no reading. I'm not calling it a reading slump, because to me a reading slump is when you want to read but nothing catches your attention. But for me, the period of no reading was just where I didn't really want to read. Didn't really feel like doing it. There was a manga period in between one of those, but the 3 books or book series that hold on. I had to sneeze. The 3 books that got me out of my no reading periods were The Chronicles of Vladimir Todd the first time, Twilight the second time, and Throne of Glass the third time. I have to find where I am on my list. The Chronicles of Vladimir Todd, as I've mentioned in the previous fact, is one of my all-time favorite book series, and I will sing its praises till the day I die. Even if I reread it and I find it's not as good as I thought it was the first time, it really means a whole lot to me, and it's there when I really need it. Was there when I really needed it. And the main character, Vladimir Todd, feels like a close personal friend of mine, and it's just good. I just love it. So, when I was little, I read the Junie B. Jones books as well as the Magic Tree House books, and I really loved the Magic Tree House books. I actually do not know where all of them went. All of my Magic Tree House books they've disappeared. I want to say they're in my closet with some of my older books I took off my bookshelf, but I don't know. I don't know where they went. My favorite time of year when I was in middle and elementary school was Scholastic Book Fair time, or book fair, or even just when we would get Scholastic like little catalog magazine things, and we would flip through them and look at the books and then like pick some, and then our parents could pay and we could order them, and they would come to our classroom and they would smell all like new books, and it would get me so excited. I love the smell of new books. I am just that weird, I guess. But it was my favorite time. I loved it so much. Last year I read over 100 books. In total I read 106. My goal was 100, and I met it within a couple days of the year ending, and I was so proud of myself. Granted, a lot of that was due to the fact I read a lot of manga last year to kind of try to get up to that point. So in my opinion it's cheating, but they're also books, so it's not really cheating. I don't really know. I pretty much only read YA, if you haven't noticed. I haven't read the Harry Potter series, but I do really love the movies, and I really love the fandom, and I do have a Pottermore account, and I have a Gryffindor bookmark that I made, and I have a Gryffindor lanyard, and I'm planning on making myself a Gryffindor scarf. And I really want my own wand, but I have not been able to pick up and read the books. I have tried it a couple times. I'm not saying they're awful and I don't like them. I'm saying every time I pick them up, I wanted to read something else and I put it back down. But I will keep trying. Might help if I had my own copies instead of having to mooch off of my family, but you never know. When I was younger, along with the chapter books that I had talked about before, I also read Fairy Tale Treasuries, which were like little collections of fairy tales, as well as this little kid Bible that I had when I was little. For some reason, whenever I couldn't sleep, like in the middle of the night or whatever, I would turn on my light and I would read it. And they were stories about biblical women doing awesome things. So maybe it was me trying to empower myself more. I don't know. For some reason, they helped. My least favorite genres are nonfiction and like just straight romance. The only exception to a straight romance, like contemporary read that doesn't have any like action in it or whatever, that is the exception to this rule, is The Fault in Our Stars by John Green. The only contemporary romancy book that I've been able to read that didn't involve like vampires or some kind of adventure plot twist. That kind of stuck me there in that book. I also don't really like nonfiction books because I need that element of fiction. Otherwise, it's not really an escape for me. It's more of like a learning experience. And as much as I'd like to learn, I'd rather be put in a fantasy escape situation than in a real world situation, if that makes any sense. Excuse me. My favorite place to read is either in my bedroom on my bed or in my black chair that's like right next to my computer right now, or the blue recliner or love seat that is out in our living room by the window where the light comes in because it's really nice to read at. My favorite book to movie adaptation is the Hunger Games movies. I have seen all 4 of them. I've seen the first 2 more times than I can even count because I love those movies. They are great adaptations of the books. I have not been disappointed by them yet, and I am so sad that they're over, and I've heard that they're going to make more. I don't know what they'd be basing them off of, and it makes me really nervous because when there's nothing to base it off of, I'm just afraid they're going to take it in a really bad direction. So please don't. As much as I love them, I'm glad you're happy you made money, but do not ruin that series for me. The longest book I've read is Winter by Marissa Meyer at 823 pages. The others that could probably compare are City of Heavenly Fire, Breaking Dawn was long, and Air of Fire is pretty big. I have not yet read Queen of Shadows, but I don't think it's bigger than Winter, or like more pages. It's bigger, because the pages of Winter are really thin, but it's longer. The book I was surprised to like as much as I did was Book Thief by Marcus Zuzek. I am not one for historical fiction very often. I have read it, and I do really enjoy the ones that I have read. But my grandmother had suggested it to me, and when I had first looked at it, I'm like, this is going, because we're German, and it's World War II, so I was like, oh, it's the German stuff. or the interesting World War II story that she'd think I would like, and I wasn't sure because I thought it was nonfiction. But I saw the trailer for the movie, and I was like, okay, so it's not nonfiction, it's historical fiction. So I'm gonna pick it up and read it because it looks really good, and I really enjoyed it. So I guess the point in this fact is to tell you, if you don't think you're going to like it, at least give it a shot. You might not even, it might not be what you think it is. When it comes to recommendations, when people ask me for recommendations, I almost always ask for a few more details to help narrow down the books to suggest. Because if I suggest like a wide range of things and they read something and they don't like it, it's probably because it's not within the genre or the types of tropes or themes or whatever that they like to read. So I try to get a little more information before I just start spouting books out of my mouth. Makes people happier, I think. My favorite place to get books is the library because it's free exposure to any amount of books I want, and if I really enjoy it enough, I will go out and buy it because I am very stingy with my money when it comes to books. Unless I have read it, I am least likely to buy it because in the past I've spent money on books that I didn't like, and I even bought like the sequels to it. So I had pretty much a whole series on my shelf, and I just couldn't stand it. And I was so mad I had used my money on books that I hated. So I'm really, really picky, I guess, about what I buy. So a library is a good place for me because I can pick up books, and if I don't like them, I can just put them back. Don't gotta buy them. If I really like them, then I will buy them. I asked for Legend for Christmas. Found it at the library. Loved it. Bought it. The Darkest Minds. Found it at the library. Liked it. Bought it. So you see a pattern here. The Mortal Instruments series. Found it at the library. Read it. Bought it. There you go. Actually, I asked for them for Christmas. So I did buy The Darkest Minds though. Anyway. My favorite fairy tale is Beauty and the Beast, and I'm a sucker for retellings. I have read Beastly, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I'm at a blank now. I can't think of the others. I have, what is it, Cruel Beauty, I think. I have that one on my Nook. There's more. I just can't think of them for whatever reason. But I love Beauty and the Beast, and I'm a sucker for retellings. I have 6 autographed books / author autographs that I have collected over time. I struggle the most with reading classics for whatever reason. I want to read them, like especially Wuthering Heights, and it's mostly because Emily Bronte is the author, and she has my name, so I'm like, I want to check her out, and I just never pick it up. I think I have Tale of Two Cities and Pride and Prejudice on my Nook, and I just haven't read them. And the very last fact I have is an author that I would love to meet and spend a day with would be Alexandra Bracken, who wrote the Darkest Minds series, as well as Passenger and Brightly Woven, which I really want to buy. As well as Star Wars books, but I haven't read those because I'm not a big Star Wars fan. I mean, I loved Star Wars, the movies, but not enough to dive that much deeper into the world. And I've seen her Ask Alex videos, as well as her podcast that she did with Susan Dennard, the Past Truth release thing with Truth Witch and Passenger. And so I think she's a fantastic person, and I love all of her stories, so I would really love to meet her. And that is my 25 bookish facts about me. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, trollings, I'll even invite trollings, I don't know, just put them down below, and I will have conversation with you if you want. I hope you guys had a great Wednesday, because it is now 9:40 and Wednesday is almost over where I live. In other places, there is probably, you know, plenty more time in the day. But hope you guys had a great Wednesday, and in a little bit I will be posting a book talk for Kiss of Deception. And that's all I have for you this week. those two, this and that thing. I have problems with talking, apparently. But I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, anything, put them down below, and we can have conversation. If not, I will see you guys next time. Yes.